Imagine you're trapped in this dark, cramped two-room apartment.
Okay, setting a very claustrophobic scene right away.
Yeah, totally. And the only illumination inside comes from the flickering, unsteady glow of all these wax candelabras, like just burning everywhere you look.
Which feels super ancient, almost, I don't know, ritualistic.
Exactly. It feels like an ancient sanctuary. But then, slicing through the slatted window blinds from the outside is this frantic, strobing carousel of blue and red lights from emergency vehicles.
Oh, wow. So a massive contrast there.
Right. And in the dead center of the floor, just bathed in that chaotic flashing light, sits a single, locked metallic suitcase.
The focal point of the whole nightmare.
Yeah. Because right outside your door, there's this armed SWAT-style standoff brewing. You've got authorities barking demands over a loudspeaker, telling you to surrender to the bomb squad.
It's an incredibly tense setup, but it's doing something very specific with your expectations as a listener. Well, you have that archaic feel of the burning wax violently colliding with the hyper-modern, sterile threat of police sirens and the tactical teams outside. The author is establishing this profound sense of isolation right out of the gate.
You're just trapped between the archaic and the industrial.
Precisely.
And that is exactly the psychological vice that our protagonist, Toivo, finds himself in. So today, our mission for this deep dive is to decode a fascinating, highly experimental piece of speculative sci-fi titled Waking Up in the Test Laboratory.
It's a text that's really been making waves lately.
It has, because it completely deconstructs modern combat narratives.
Yeah.
We're going to look at how this story takes a gritty, tactical warfare scenario and fundamentally shatters it.
Yeah, by dragging it into this surreal, hallucinatory proxy war.
With literal angels, demons, and apocalyptic technology. Okay, let's unpack this. Picture a tense cyberpunk standoff, but the entire operating system of reality is abruptly hijacked by biblical forces.
I mean, I wouldn't even call it a hijacking, really. It's more like a revelation of the true battlefield.
Right, peeling back the curtain.
Exactly. As we analyze this text, we can't just mechanically walk through the plot. We have to look at the underlying mechanics of this world. The environment, the weapons, the tech, they all function as thematic extensions of light and dark.
So we have to explore how the author weaponizes faith.
Yes, and how they corrupt technology to tell the story. Because the siege in that apartment, it's deeply psychological way before a single shot is fired.
Oh, for sure. Let's actually focus on that psychological warfare first, because it completely inverts the traditional hostage trope.
It really does.
So Toivo is cornered in an exterior corridor of this building in a ghetto called Kuperivara, and he is heavily armed.
Very heavily armed.
Yeah, an automatic assault rifle in his hands and an automatic pump shotgun resting on the sofa next to him. But the authorities outside, they weren't treating him like a standard barricaded suspect.
No, they're demanding he hand over, quote-unquote, the bomb.
Right. So I look at this and I just think, Toivo isn't actually trapped. He's the danger. That locked metallic suitcase is the absolute center of gravity here.
See, I actually have to push back on the idea that Toivo is the primary danger.
Oh, really? Why?
Because the text goes out of its way to show that his reality is fracturing. I mean, he is internally asking himself, how am I here?
That's true. He seems super disoriented.
Exactly. The physical threat outside is mirrored by this terrifying psychological invasion happening inside his own head. He isn't some mastermind controlling the situation.
He's more like a pawn.
Yeah, a pawn desperately trying to hold his ground against a force that is, like, actively hacking his mind.
You're talking about the voices he hears?
Yes, the
The
voices.
text says he hears them taunting him, whispering things like, "We blacks grabbed you now, Toivo Cree."
It's so unsettling.
It is. And initially, that just reads like standard combat PTSD or maybe as schizophrenic break.
Sure, a psychological snap under pressure.
But as you look at the strike force outside, you realize it isn't a medical issue at all. It is a literal tactical breach of his consciousness.
Yes.
Because outside, you've got snipers in the nearby forest.
Right.
And on a store roof, sweeping the walls with red infrared dots. But the strike force itself, this is where the cyberpunk element bleeds into pure body horror.
Oh, the shifting faces.
Yeah. Through the blinds, Toivo sees their faces distorting, like mutating, and their eyes are pitch black voids.
Which is just a terrifying image.
And the craziest part is they aren't using radios. They're communicating silently with each other through microchips implanted in their brains.
Which completely recontextualizes the voices in his head.
Right, because it means they are broadcasting directly to him.
Exactly. The text treats this technology, the brain microchips, the silent hive mind communication, not as some marvel of modern science, but as a literal vector for demonic corruption.
Wow, yeah.
Their physical forms are distorting, their eyes are black because their humanity has been totally hollowed out.
It's like a virus.
Yeah, it suggests that whatever dark alignment they have, it operates like malicious software that literally mutates flesh.
That is so gross, but so cool.
It's a terrifying evolution of tactical communication, where the enemy is stripped of their individuality and twisted by the very tech that connects them. The microchip isn't a tool here, it's a leash.
A leash. Man, that makes the sensory overload of the scene so much more intense. He's dealing with infrared dots scanning his walls, shifting mutant faces outside, and a demonic hive mind broadcasting directly into his skull.
It's unbearable pressure.
The tension is wound so tight, and yet the standoff snaps because of something incredibly mundane. Here's where it gets really interesting.
The phone call.
Yes. The supernatural doesn't announce itself with thunder or a lightning bolt. It announces itself with a phone call.
Which is such a brilliant juxtaposition.
Toivo is on his knees, right? And suddenly, this phone in his hand starts ringing. But the text describes the receiver as being supernaturally bright.
Not just a glowing screen, but blindingly bright.
Yeah, he looks at the screen and it says Hava is calling.
And Hava represents a lifeline from a completely different realm of existence.
Right, because when Toivo answers on speakerphone, Hava's voice cries out, telling him that the Whitehearts are coming.
Urging him to just endure for a moment longer.
Right.
It introduces this wild idea that the supernatural realm operates on, like, a logistical schedule. Reinforcements have an ETA.
But the call disconnecting is what actually triggers the chaos. It ends with a frantic beep, 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 toot, toot, and Toivo suddenly hears a helicopter directly overhead.
And he flinches.
Yeah, in the shock of that moment, he accidentally drops his automatic weapon to the floor. And the text describes this so viscerally. The gun goes off, firing a rapid burst from the floor to the ceiling. Pop, 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 tom, and one of his own bullets slashes an open wound right into his ear.
It is such a brilliant authorial choice to have the catalyst of this massive holy war be a moment of sheer human clumsiness.
Totally, just dropping a gun.
Amidst all this hyper-lethal, cybernetically enhanced tension, the protagonist fumbles. But that accidental burst of fire breaks the stalemate. The moment the gun goes off, the corrupted forces outside open fire.
And it is an absolute downpour of ballistics. The slatted blinds just ripple as bullets tear into the apartment, shattering windows, chewing through the walls.
He's pinned down.
He's caught in the crossfire of his own mistake. But this is the exact moment the divine finally steps in. And it does so in a way that merges spirituality with military hardware.
The angel.
Yes, a blue fire-burning angel suddenly manifests right next to him. But it doesn't just stand there glowing, looking holy. It physically intercepts the ballistics, catching the incoming bullets out of the air.
It functions as the ultimate supernatural body armor.
Yeah. It felt very Matrix to me.
Yeah.
Like Neo stopping bullets, but spiritual.
Oh, that's a great comparison. What's fascinating here is how the author refuses to separate the magical from the mechanical.
Right.
You have an angel made of blue fire, sure, but its job description in this scene is purely tactical interception.
Bullet catching.
Yeah. And it goes even further into this bizarre fusion of modern tech and divine wrath with the cell phone.
I am so glad you brought up the phone again, because this sequence completely baffled me at first.
It's definitely a trip.
So after the shooting temporarily stops and the demonic voices demand the bomb again, Toivo looks back at his supernaturally bright cell phone. A series of letters and numbers appear on the screen. 12 apostles.
The launch code.
Yes. He presses the receiver, and it triggers a massive earthquake that just swallows the special forces and snipers. My question is, why on earth does divine intervention require a 5G network?
Right.
The 12 apostles isn't functioning as a religious reference here at all. It is being used as a literal tactical launch code.
Which forces you to completely rethink how miracles operate in this universe.
Oh, really?
By using a cell phone as the interface, the author is treating divine intervention like an encrypted API ping.
Oh, I love that. An API ping to God.
Exactly. Instead of a prayer, you have an authentication code. It demystifies the divine, turning it into a highly coordinated military strike.
It really does.
When Toivo enters that launch code, the response isn't a whimsical wave of a magic wand. The text says, "The earth was like a maw wide open. It is a surgical, cataclysmic drop. The ground just opens up and consumes a futuristic SWAT team."
Which entirely blows up the scale of the narrative.
Absolutely.
By wiping out the immediate threat with an earthquake, the claustrophobic trap of that apartment is gone. The walls are literally and figuratively coming down, and the story transitions from this tense hostage situation to an all-out vehicular street war.
And that transition is crucial.
Yeah.
Because it introduces the broader aesthetics of this holy war.
Right, we finally get outside.
Yes. The battlefield expands into what the text calls Flea Alley, and we finally see the opposing forces in full scale.
The imagery in the street is just wild.
Yeah.
I mean, on one side you have the White Hearts.
Right.
These crisp white Humvees suddenly tear onto the street firing miniguns. They are clashing head-on with black vans and what the text horrifyingly refers to as death ambulances, which are just exploding into massive fireballs everywhere.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to look at the symbolic tactical gear being deployed by both sides.
Okay, way on me.
It represents a fascinating inversion of typical sci-fi tropes. The enemies, the Black Angels, are riding in on motorcycles made entirely of bones and skins.
And they are firing bazookas and machine guns from these things, bone motorcycles equipped with heavy artillery. It's insane.
Right, but think about what that means thematically. Those grotesque bone and skin motorcycles represent a primal organic corruption.
Oh, interesting.
They are constructed by scavenging and recycling death. Usually, in science fiction, the organic, natural element is the good side, right?
Yeah, like the rebels in the forest.
Exactly. And the cold, mechanical side is the evil empire. But here, the author flips it.
Oh, I see what you mean.
The organic flesh is putrid, corrupted, and demonic. This is directly contrasted with the forces of light, the White Hearts, who utilize hyper-modern, sterile, inorganic tech, clean white Humvees, miniguns, and coordinated vehicle formations.
So the divine is represented by clean machinery, while the demonic is represented by rotting flesh.
Yeah.
That is a brilliant way to frame it.
It really changes how you visualize the scene.
It does. And you see that contrast perfectly during the extraction sequence. Two of these white Humvees shoot grappling hooks right onto Toivo's balcony and literally tear the entire second-floor wall down.
Just massive industrial force.
Yeah. And standing in one of the Humvees is Hava. The text explicitly refers to Hava as Whiteheart in the Shield of David.
An incredible title.
And as Toivo is standing exposed in this ruined apartment, white-clothed men shoot an electric protection net over him.
Like an energy shield.
Exactly. Bullets just bounce off this electrified net as he jumps through the hole in the wall, suitcase firmly in hand, landing right through the open roof window of the Humvee.
Notice all the layers of defense around Toivo here. You've got blue fire angels, electric protection nets, armored Humvees.
He's the VIP.
His role is strictly containment. He is a courier. But amidst all this chaotic, sterile machinery, the author drops in a profound moment of emotional anchoring that completely disrupts the tactical tone.
Oh man, the emotional whiplash here is intense.
It really is.
So, Toivo drops into the soft seat of the Humvee, the roof window slides shut, and outside there's just a chorus of demonics screaming from every direction like, "We will grab you, Toivo."
Terrifying.
He is totally surrounded by bone motorcycles and exploding death ambulances, but then he feels Hava's hand. And as he looks up, he realizes Hava has his mother's smiling angel face.
Oh.
In the middle of this high-speed, nightmarish battlefield, he finds this sudden, deeply maternal comfort. But I have to admit, it felt almost absurd to me. Like, why inject a mother's smile into a minigun firefight?
It feels absurd until you realize it is a psychological countermeasure.
A countermeasure.
Yeah. We established earlier that the demonic forces use psychological warfare, right? The voices, the shifting faces, all designed to break Toivo's mind.
Right, to hack him.
So, the forces of light use psychological anchoring to keep him sane. Manifesting his mother's face isn't just about comfort. It is a tactical stabilization technique for their primary operative.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
And the text immediately grinds you back in the reality of the war, because right after that maternal smile, Hava yells, "Pedal to the metal, John, mother."
Which is such an amazing, aggressive pivot.
It really is.
It reminds you that in this universe, even the comforting figures of the light are battle-hardened soldiers.
Exactly.
So the extraction from the apartment is successful, but escaping the building just leads them into a high-speed chase and sets up the final apocalyptic climax.
It's a big showdown.
Yeah. They are driving away, and suddenly, blocking their path is a motorcycle procession led by the final boss of this sequence, a figure named Darkface.
And Darkface is the ultimate manifestation of the organic corruption we were just talking about.
He really is.
His mount and his weaponry are the absolute apex of that putrid, death-obsessed aesthetic.
He is riding this massive, quote, blood-dipped bike that has actual bone horns protruding from it.
So gruesome.
And his weapons, on his back, he carries these things described as spider-like poison oozing bone bows.
Just perfectly disgusting imagery.
Yeah, he's shouting commands of darkness, leading this swarm of black angels right toward the Humvee. It feels like an unstoppable tidal wave of rot.
But the Whitehearts don't engage him conventionally. They don't try to outshoot a swarm of poison bone bows with miniguns.
No, they don't.
The escalation here jumps from tactical to cosmic. Hava simply says, now.
And the phone rings again.
Yep.
Toivo's supernaturally bright receiver lights up, he presses the button, and the ultimate climax is unleashed. This time it goes way beyond an earthquake.
Way beyond.
Actual sky vortexes appear. These massive funnels open up in the heavens and just start sucking the enemy troops, the Black Angels on their bone bikes, right up into the heights of the sky.
The battlefield is no longer just the street. The author turns the very atmosphere into a weapon.
It's incredible.
As the enemies are pulled into the sky, lightnings within the clouds crush them, exploding them into a literal sea of fire. It is an overwhelming display of supreme, unyielding power.
Toivo watches this happen through the windows of the Humvee, and he sees Darkface's distorted face one last time. The imagery here is just brutal.
Oh, yeah.
As Darkface burns from the lightning strikes, Toivo sees actual maggots writhing inside the guy's face.
The rot is literal.
And then the text describes the Black Angels being dropped into the bottomless abyss of damnation, suddenly flaring up like matches as they fall into the endless dark.
What an ending.
So what does this all mean? The thing that really strikes me is Toivo's complete lack of agency in the actual violence.
Right.
He never fires a shot in anger. He accidentally discharges his weapon once, and that's it. Otherwise, he just clutches the suitcase and presses buttons on his cell phone, while cosmic forces tear reality apart around him to ensure he survives.
Which raises a really important question about the nature of warfare in this specific narrative universe.
How so?
Well, usually the protagonist of an action sequence is the one dealing the final blow, right?
Yeah, the hero gets the kill.
But Toivo is effectively a bystander in a war fought by gods. The finality of this climax, the sky vortexes, the lightning, the abyss, these aren't just weapons of war, they are mechanisms of cosmic cleansing.
Cosmic cleansing, wow.
The visceral, putrid imagery of the maggots inside Darkface's burning visage isn't just there to be gross. It proves the thematic point we discussed earlier. The Black Angels are a literal rotting disease on reality.
So you have to excise them completely.
Exactly. Their destruction in the abyss isn't just a military victory, it is an absolute, undeniable purification. Toivo is merely the catalyst. The forces fighting to protect him operate on a scale of biblical judgment that renders human combat totally irrelevant.
It is an incredible, exhausting journey. Just to recap the sheer velocity and scale of this narrative for you listening, we started in a claustrophobic, locked, candlelit room in a ghetto called Kuparivara, dealing with a tense, psychological SWAT standoff.
Just a few guys with guns.
Exactly. And within moments, the author escalated that into an apocalyptic street chase featuring angels made of blue fire, enemies riding bone-horned, blood-dipped bikes, and massive lightning vortexes sucking demons into a sea of fire.
It truly stretches the boundaries of how we consume speculative fiction. For you listening, it challenges how you visualize conflict.
For sure.
It takes the grit and the recognizable hardware of a modern tactical shooter.
Yeah.
The Humvees, the miniguns, the snipers with infrared sights, and it completely rewires them. It forces you to consider a reality where technology, spirituality, and warfare are completely indistinguishable.
Where a cell phone is a weapon of mass divine destruction.
Yeah, and where corruption is a physical rot you can fight with an electrified net.
It just leaves you entirely breathless.
Yeah.
But there is one final mystery, one glaring question that the text deliberately leaves unanswered. And it's something for you to mull over long after we wrap up this deep dive.
The suitcase.
Yes, the suitcase. Throughout this entire unimaginable hallucinatory bloodbath, where the Earth swallowed cybernetic special forces, where blue fire intercepted bullets, and where lightning crushed demons into a bottomless abyss, Toivo's only real physical priority was desperately holding onto that locked metallic suitcase.
He never let it go.
Never. So if a simple cell phone acts as a tactical remote control for divine wrath,
Yeah.
what on earth could possibly be inside that bomb suitcase that the forces of ultimate darkness were willing to tear reality apart to get?